guys, it's Asher coming at you today in Raid Shadow Legends. I'm not alone. I'm joined by KruYsen, talking about the newest fusion Fragment summon in Raid Shadow Legends. You're looking at it right now in the background. KruYsen, welcome back to the channel. We actually just got done recording a longer collab than this one, talking about 9-piece Mercurial, the best champions to use it, the best champions to counter it, and everything in between. But I figured I'd steal you because this news actually goes live first, and I wanted to get your thoughts on this new fusion Fragment summon, because man, she looks pretty nasty to me at first glance, and she has a companion champion who we can also share the kit of. Of course, that will be a Void Legendary. Here's the the companion champion. He looks nasty as well. I will say, I hope we're allowed to say this, bro, but there's a whole batch of champions, as they tend to do, being released, and they all look nasty to me, bro. Power creep in a big way. Look at the flaming head here, man. Pretty cool.
Yeah.
Pretty cool imagery on these guys, huh?
Yeah.
Let's look at the kit, though. Let's talk about skills here. All right, so here it is. It's Noldua the Gloaming. Noldua the Gloaming, KruYsen. She's a dark elf, force affinity reviver, which is really, really cool. I felt that dark elves could use another reviver as well. They have Blind Seer, of course, who's void. This gives us another, more accessible option. And her kit looks busted. I'm going to quickly go through it, and then we will hand it to you, the expert, to give your opinions as well. On her Shade Strike A1, 50% chance to place an Enfeeble for 2 turns. That can be booked up to 75%. If it's a boss, you get the big version of Weaken instead. If her companion, who we'll talk about later, is on the same team, it can't be resisted. On the A2, the Umbral Purge. This is a 5 book down to a 3-turn cooldown, 100% chance when booked to remove all buffs from all enemies. Can't be resisted if companion's on the same team. She also places a decreased defense on all enemies. Can't be resisted if he's on the same team. If he's on the same team, she also brings an increased attack. So already we're looking at a reviver who removes buffs and places a decreased defense on a 3-turn cooldown. And we haven't even got to the revive yet, which is the A3 Moon Bloom's Blessing. 6 book down to a 4-turn cooldown, revives all dead allies, 50-50 HP and turn meter. If the companion is on the same team and is dead, revives them with 100% turn meter. Plays a shield on all allies, 30% of this champion's max HP. But wait, there's more. It's the Scholar of Shadows passive. All turn meter effects used by enemies are 30% less effective. If her companion's on the same team and fills this champion's turn meter by 30% of the enemy's turn meter fill effect, yada, 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 yada. Accuracy in all battles by 70 on the aura. All right, KruYsen, I like how they little built-in Stars of Night Jing, or whatever the hell the relic is, right?
Nice.
Although it is contingent on him being on the same team. So this is very interesting. We have maybe some echoes of a Hilvy a little bit. It's interesting the way that they've kind of pushed revivers to provide more utility over the last year or so. But enough of me rambling. What are your thoughts on this champion?
I think it's a pattern that we're seeing on Raid right now. Red Affinity Revivers with partnerships.
Yeah, right?
With other champions.
Yeah.
Really strong kits. Really strong kit.
Yeah.
This is going to be a good fusion. A good fusion because, first, brings utility to a faction that needs a little bit of love.
Finally, they chose the right faction, right? Finally, I feel like.
Yeah. It's a very interesting kit. Very interesting kit. First, Enfeeble on the A1. Just by that is already a good A1. And it shifts to a utility A1 when you're facing bosses with the Weaken, which it is incredibly good. Incredibly good, because she's not a useless A1 when we're facing PvE content.
Exactly.
Already good. And a high chance, 75% of chance of landing the Enfeeble is probably the highest chance that we have right now on the game.
It's great, man. Think about just plopping down a nice little Enfeeble on Nice or something, just like when you're out of rotation or whatever.
And it is for 2 turns, bro.
Yeah.
The Enfeeble for 2 turns, you
so annoying.
For 2 turns, which it is extremely powerful just by that. The second skill, the Umbral Purge, it is a really good skill. First, because you remove everything. And if you have the partner, it's going to be unresistible, which it is really good. You don't need to spend a lot of your stats into accuracy. And she adds more because you're going to remove and land the decreased defense. And by doing that, you make your enemy team totally vulnerable. With one skill, you can make your whole enemy team something that you can touch and destroy.
Yep, exactly.
That's good because already putting her passive analysis in front of the other skills, the revive, she has an inbuilt Jinang that you can provide, or at least a mitigation of Tanamit boosting for the enemy team, which make her a viable champion to cut in between the enemy lines, or before the enemy booster or buffer do something, or after it does something, you can go there and counter that. So she's a good champion, not to be the fastest possible champion, but to has a good amount of speed to cut in between the lines of your enemy. So she's a viable champion to use in Supersonic set, in Stars of Jinang Relic, or something like that. That she already has a passive
chains.
Yeah. And she can counter the whole enemy buffs and make them, instead of stronger, weaker, because losing buffs and getting the decreased defense on them. And if she has the partnership, also lands the increased attack in the entire team. So she debuffs your enemy, she decreases their defense, and raises your attack. It's a good champion to start the move of your team. So really decent kit, and also a reviver at the same time, and a really decent revive. A revive that brings a champion with half HP and half ton meter, it's unbelievable strong. It's one of the strongest revives in the game. And if the partnership is dead, bro.
Yeah, that's a big if, man. I mean, we got to get our hands on this dude, but his kit is bonkers as well. We should take a look at that. But like, so obviously, who would you recommend go for this? It feels like a silly question. I feel like this is a really good fusion. This is a really good, strong fusion, better than a lot of the ones that we've recently seen, especially that A1, man. It's like, we've already talked enough about it, but having that in the arena, that 2-turn enfeeble, it's not like the same as a Siphi sleep, but I guarantee it's going to be as annoying as the Siphi sleep on the A1, you know? So to me, that's the kind of what puts her over the top of like, ooh, I might actually, she's going to be really cool. She's going to be really cool. Do you think that, would you recommend everybody go for her? Like, I don't like to throw around must fuses or whatever, but like, is she, I don't know, this might be a huge stretch, but like, first glance, what are your first impressions on her versus like a Lady Noelle, who's the last fusion I can a reviver fusion I can think of?
Well, she's a champion I wouldn't pass. Because how much utility she has and how much potential she has in a faction that I think is really weak at the moment. So I think she can bring a lot of utility, both to the faction, and the kit of the champion is really good. A lot of potential on her. So it is a champion that I wouldn't pass. But I would not tell the audience that is a champion that if you miss, you're going, oh my God, there is no comp that I can't do without her, you know?
Yeah.
She's not a champion that by the kit that you're going, okay, it's impossible to do this comp because I don't have Noldua. I don't think it is this kind of champion, but at the same time, it is not a champion that I would pass. I think it's one of the best revivers in the game at the moment. A really meta reviver. Yeah. And the possibility of having a duo that's pretty insane, because you didn't show up the partner yet. But no,
let's show off the partner. To your point, though, why I'd recommend her to everybody out there if you can, you know. And I agree with you. I don't think she's like a, you know, you're going to live, you'll be fine without her, right? But I do think that having a big version of Weaken, an AoE decreased defense, buff removal, and a really good revive, I mean, almost everybody can use that in PvE and cross utility in PvP too, which I love about her. Let's pull up her companion. All right, so this is Solanar the Gleaming. Solanar the Gleaming. He is a high elf void legendary. Real quick, an AoE on the A1. The attack is always critical if you go for the fusion. If Nuldua, excuse me. All right, that also places a fatigue on all enemies for 1 turn. Passive effect has a 80 booked up to 100% chance to counterattack with this skill whenever an enemy gets an extra turn or an instant turn effect is activated. Has a 15 booked up to a, sorry, I'm like trying to read my damn screen here. Is it 20?
35%.
Is it okay? But up to 25% chance to counterattack with this skill whenever an enemy has their turn meter increased. What? I mean, we're on the A1, bro, and it's already like, oh man, that's insane. Blazing Force is the A2. Attack one enemy. Attack is always critical again, just like all of his moves, I believe. Yes. If Nodule is on the same team, we'll ignore 10% of the target's defense for each buff on this champion. This champion is immune to all debuffs while this skill is on cooldown. Not on cooldown, excuse me, important differential. Whenever an enemy attempts to place a debuff on this champion while this skill is not on cooldown, this champion gains a random buff instead. Oh my word, bro. So basically, we're never using this skill.
Yeah.
We're never using it. Unfettered Radiance. This is A3 ability. This is insane, this guy, man. Attacks one enemy before attacking, steals all buffs and 100% turn meter from the target if they are not under a stone skin buff. This effect cannot be resisted. This effect is always critical, again, if Nodula is on the same team.
We ignore stone skin.
We'll ignore stone skin. Oh, my word. This champion receives 75% less damage. Dude, I could just blow this up. I'm such an idiot. I'm like trying to squint and read the thing. While this skill is on, this champion receives a 75% less damage in an extra turn or an instant turn while this skill is not on cooldown. Man, while the skill is on cooldown, raises the cooldown by 1 turn whenever an enemy receives an extra turn, has an instant turn activated on them, or has their turn meter increased. Occurs once per turn. That's on a 4-turn cooldown. And then the passive Scholar of the Sun. Scholar of Sun, whenever an enemy receives healing, has a 100% chance to reduce the amount of healing received to 0. This champion will receive that healing instead. If Nuldua is on the same team, enemies will receive damage equal to the amount of healing instead. Once per round, if this champion is dead, revives this champion 100% HP, 100% turn meter, while their last living ally is, or when their last living ally is killed. Then places a magma shield on this champion for 2 turns. The value of the magma shield is equal to 300% of this champion's max HP. If Noldua is on the same team, the buff is protected. Dude, are we looking at a new strongest champion in the game? Am I being hyperbolic here? A new strongest combo in the game? Is this the level of Taurus and Marichka and Siphi and Rhodos? Is this the 2026 version? Because I'm starting to think yes, bro. What do you think?
First, we need to see the multipliers.
That is always the case. No, yeah, forget about multipliers on the Scholar of the Sun, though. Like, you just sit there like a Volcanos and wait for them to heal.
Yeah. But this is a really interesting hit. It's something new that we didn't have before.
Right?
First, I have the feeling that he's going to hit like a truck with the A1. I have the feeling.
Yeah.
Cannot be the case, but I have the feeling that that's going to happen. Second, all his skill has a lot of utility if you use them or if you don't use them. The champion presence.
He's attack-based too, I should say. Sorry, go ahead.
The fact that the champion is there, sitting, waiting, wishing. Bro, he's already a threat. If you're buff with your Viablity or 2 speed buff, you're going to damage your whole team by 20% of their HP. If you're buff with Marichka, you can kill your team. You can kill your team with that massive healing. If the Theodosius passive heal you or the A1 heal you, it's going to damage your team. So the passive amount of damage is really a threat. Nullifies the healing, turns it into damage. And all the champions hit has something interesting. It's a champion that ignores Stone Skin. Just by that is a red possible method champion. A1 AoE on a void champion, really, really, really strong. And a lot of utility on an A1 with the fatigue. The fatigue is extremely strong, you know?
Yeah.
So to deliver that, as soon as a champion put instant turn or put turn meter, everybody
yeah.
is going to do it. And you're going to do that while you take stacks of Total Guard, even without having your turn there.
Right.
So you a Gallopere buff with an A2, you're going to damage them with the passive. It's going to remove stacks, probably. I don't know. We need to test. You're going to counterattack. It's going to remove another stack. Bro, half of the Total Guard is already gone. So a counter to it. This champion has everything on his kit with some utility. So I know it's a void champion. I know it's not going to be easy to get him.
No.
But the potential of the duel makes me even more don't want to waste this fusion.
That's what I was going to say, is when we were just talking about, 5 minutes ago, is she a must fuse? It's like, well, if you ever get him, she is. That's granted, easier said than done. But when you put them together, forget about it, man. The fact that he always crits, like they both have built-in relics at that point when they're together, right? The stars on the passive, the always crit. Like you can just build them and ignore Stone Skin, dude. who gets like all this reduction, synergy, and counterattacks, and you don't need any crit rate on him either, man. Forget about it, dude. He's gonna be the most annoying. This is gonna be the most annoying combo in the game, man. I'm saying it right now. I feel like, even like the additions, immune to all debuffs, just straight up. Like,
and he receives a random buff when
he receives a random buff.
Bro, he's pretty strong, even without knowing the multiplier.
Yeah,
the utility of the champion is pretty strong. You can have the vibe of a Vulcanos, of a Nell, that just sitting there, you're a threat.
Yeah.
Just by existing, you're a threat. And if he has good multipliers or even insane multipliers, he automatically become one of the strongest champions in the game. And if you have the combo with Noldua, you have the sun and the moon that are the thematic.
Right? It is. It's a really cool combo. You got to hand it to him. Like, some people will be like, dude, massive power creep, and I understand, but you got to hand it to them. They do find ways 7 years into the game to make new champions compelling. They do it vis-a-vis power creep, but like, I mean, let's just walk through your first turn. Attack one enemy. Let's just say Nuldua goes before him. You remove all debuffs. You decrease defense. You attack one enemy. Before attacking, you steal all buffs. Maybe he goes first. I don't know. Steal 100% turn meter. If they're not under stone skin, if they're under stone skin, you pop them. While this skill is on cooldown, it reduces the cooldown by 1 turn whenever an enemy gets a turn meter. Right? A turn meter increase. It does occur once per turn, but golly, man. I mean, that would potentially give you the chance of going back to back, you know, with this. It's pretty nuts, man. It's pretty nuts. All right, listen, we've kept you a while here. Any final thoughts on this new power couple in Raid, bro?
I wouldn't skip the fusion.
Okay. All right, guys. Well, there you have it. Thanks again to KruYsen. Guys, check out his YouTube channel in the description below. He's like definitely the guy that you want to follow for all the cutting edge news and strategies and metas and builds and everything Raid Shadow Legends. I don't miss any of his videos, and neither should you. Thanks again for coming on, KruYsen. Let me know what you think of this power couple, specifically Nuldua. Am I saying the damn name right? I'm sorry. No, Nuldua. Especially Nuldua. I'm sure I'm going to be saying her name every single time, screaming it when I go against her in the arena. But let me know if you plan on going for this fusion and what you think of this new power couple in Raid in the comments below. Much love. And as always, take care, guys.